From his time at Saturday Night Live to his years of stand-up and sitcom appearances, Norm Macdonald is one of America's most beloved comics. So who better to be part of the judges panel on NBC's newest season of Last Comic Standing? Here's a look at what to expect.
I'm an Iranian homo. I am.
Hey, Ron Kagani, I think it's impossible not to love you.
Yeah.
I like when you say Iranian homo a lot.
I think what you're saying, Norm, if he'd just come out here and just said homo over and over again, he'd be your favorite comic of all time?
I'm saying if I had the guts to come out of the closet, he'd be the guy I'd go to first.
Yeah.
Norm joins me now. Thanks for being here.
Hey, Josh, good to see you, buddy.
What's it like to be a judge of other comics rather than performing yourself?
Well, I'm very judgmental, so, you know, it suits my skill sets perfectly. You know that saying, judge not lest you be judged?
Uh-huh.
I think it may have been Jesus Christ of Nazareth, I'm not sure.
I think that's correct. Of Nazareth, not the other one.
Yeah, not Jesus H. Christ.
No.
But I disagree. I think, you know, you judge.
Judge away.
Yeah, judge all you can. And I always wanted to be a judge because, well, I mean, I wanted to be a proper judge, you know, where I have a man's life in my hands. But in this thing, you just get to, say, you're not funny. Who told you were funny? Seriously, some of these people, I swear to God, I can't imagine them even being the funniest person in a room, let alone a professional comedian. And I was thinking, like, who was it that told you were funny? Because that person, you know, owes you a lot of money because you're following a dream that's impossible to catch.
Maybe after judging whether the comics are good,
Yeah.
you could then have the people who told them to become comics on, and you
Yeah.
could deliver actual punishments.
Yeah, I could judge them also.
Because I take it that there's no punishment for being a bad comic on Last Comic Standing. It's not like a judge in
no.
the sense that you can't actually lock them up in a cage in prison for 25 years if they do a bad job.
Yeah, no, you can't put them on death row.
Were you actually interested in the law? Was that ever a thing?
No, I was just interested in being a judge.
You know you have to learn the law to be a judge.
Well, no, I always...
Judges don't just act on whims, they have, unless they're on the Supreme Court. But
I always
then,
thought it meant to just say to a guy, like, okay, it's come time for your penalty phase. You get life or death. I always thought those were funny. Those are the two things that you get.
so as well as
The
being,
opposite things. You know, the guy's obviously standing there going, damn, I hope I get life. You know, I'm getting kind of used to it. It's all I've ever known.
yeah.
And I don't want death, especially on that hot chair.
So in addition to being a tragic
How about
indictment
that hot
of-
chair?
the hot chair?
No, I'm just saying, when you think of ways to kill someone, it wouldn't be the first that came to mind. Go, God, let's get a hottest chair we can. So a chair so hot that it would boil a man's insides, you know?
It seems like in addition to being an indictment of America's criminal justice system, the death penalty is amusing to you.
Well, yeah. I am against the death penalty. As one of your great poets said, I shall have nothing to do with, I shall die, but that's all I shall have to do with death. Can't remember who it was, but...
Probably not an Australian.
Ah, yeah.
Sounds a bit sophisticated
Australian,
for an Aussie.
Oh, Aussies, man, they have poets.
Yeah, we had a couple.
Yeah,
Maybe three.
yeah.
I actually got into an argument on the subway, and the guy quoted the Bible at me. That is not fair. Like, if you get to quote from your favorite book, I should be able to quote from my favorite book, right? He was like, men do not live on bread alone, Matthew 4:4. And it's like, everybody's a little bit magic, Harry Potter, chapter 7. It's not a fair fight, right?
I disagree. I don't think the Bible joke is brave at all. I think if you're going to take on an entire religion, you should maybe know what you're talking about. J.K. Rowling is a Christian, and J.K. Rowling famously said that if you're familiar with the scriptures, you could easily guess the ending of her book.
Huh? Okay.
I don't like it.
This is the 9th season of Last Comic Standing, and it is, yes, 9 long
This
years.
is the first time I've seen it.
Well, there you go. Well, you're joined by Keenan Ivory Wayans and Roseanne.
Yeah.
So walk me through your process. What do you look for when you're watching these comedians?
Well, you know, stand-up is sort of a, I always think of it as a craft more than an art. Because, you know, with art, you, like, interpret it. But craft, you have to make everybody in the audience make an exact noise at an exact time. So, so it's easy to learn. You know, you can bring it up to an art later on. But I just try to help them because I never got any help. I just try to...
Sorry about that.
No, when we started, everyone hated each other. Like, I see young stand-ups now, and everybody's so supportive. But, man, when I started, it was like, you know, one bowl of food and 50 dogs.
Anthony Jeselnik, are you going to be live tweeting Last Comic Standing Wednesday at 10 p.m.? You have to now.
Oh, I do. I think I keep thinking that NBC is going to tell me to stop, and they won't.
Is that an assumption that you're just not going to be asked back?
I think they're like, oh, we love you, did a great job, but they just had to cut so much of my stuff that I don't know if I would. If I could maybe go back, but I would just be smarter about it. I would just know. Like, my biggest interest was just riffing with Norm. So I wish I hadn't written so many jokes that they were just going to cut all of them and just been kind of loose and screwed around more.
Yeah, it's all for time. It's really amazing. Anytime you record anything for television, you record 2 hours for a half hour, and it all just winds up.
Oh, these were like 5-hour tapings. 100 comics, and most of them you don't even see. There are people who get past the first round who they cut out entirely, just for time. Like, it's weird how they have to do it. I just assumed that they would ignore all the comics and be like, we've got this great show with Anthony and Norm, like, getting into fights. Let's show that. Nah,
spin-off.
I thought that would have been amazing, but
I think America thinks that would be amazing too.
I see tweets like that like, you guys should have like a sitcom together.
I don't know how he didn't get one of those desks. Ferguson, Letterman, like, how did Norm Macdonald not wind up behind one?
He almost like followed Conan. I think at one point they weren't going to have him do an after show after Conan. Wow. I run into Norm. We're doing press like to promote the show. We're doing Larry King together. And Norm and I love Norm, but we kind of fought for the first couple episodes. Like, it was uncomfortable, and then we figured out how to work together. And
what are you fighting about?
Just like who's going to be the funny one? It's just two alpha males. You know, where he would make a joke and the audience would get mad at him. So I would make fun of him to get the crowd back, and he doesn't appreciate that. So we're like figuring it out.
If I go to the ATM machine at night and it's like a white lady getting money out her account, I won't get out my car.
When you were at the ATM machine, you were no longer a black guy. You were a human being.
That was great. Almost racist, but then you got it right under the bar, Norm. That's why I love you. Keep it going for DC Urban, everybody. Great job, DC. And so we're backstage at Larry King, and he's like, I don't know how to promote this thing. I don't know what to talk about. So when I talk about these comics, and I go, no, let's do this. Let's say that we had this horrible rivalry, and that we hate each other, and just talk trash about like things we would do to each other backstage, and like all these, and how much we hate each other. He goes, that's great. Let's do that. That's really funny. And I'm like, all right, great. So I go around for weeks. And I'm just throwing Norm under the bus, talking about how much I hated him and what an awful person he is. And Norm has completely forgotten that we've made this deal. Norm is just talking about how nice I am and how funny I am everywhere we go. And he still hasn't brought it up to me, but I can't think he's happy. I can't think he's happy that I'm just...
Regarding Norm, you know, both of you guys have definitely different styles, but both of you, I think, have a real cerebral approach to your craft. And I'm just wondering, from you coming up, what did you learn from a colleague like Norm Macdonald?
You know, he wasn't my colleague until just recently, so coming up I couldn't really learn anything from him, but I learned from watching him on SNL when he was on Weekend Update of just that, believe in your joke. And if the audience doesn't get it, you still need to believe in it. You know, like, not every joke has to hit. You don't want to be a crowd pleaser. You want to be a great comedian. And Norm seemed to always be going that way. So I always looked up to him, always loved him, which is why meeting him and getting to work with him was such a huge disappointment. I can't think he's happy that I've just been like...
What happened that night on Larry King?
We weren't on together. We went
You
on
were
together.
not on.
No.
Oh, it sounded like you guys were going on.
It was like I went on first and then he went on second. So I went on and like kind of trashed
Larry
him.
King. He did it when I
Loves
was
him.
on SNL.
Oh yeah.
My money, beets are
best.
the best vegetable. Hello.
He said his favorite Larry King story, and I still think this is hilarious, is someone's talking to Larry King, and Larry's like, you lost your son, right? And he goes, yeah, I lost a child. And Larry King just goes, Paul Newman says you never get over it. Like, that's the only way he could relate to someone who lost a child, was what Paul Newman said once. Like, the guy's just completely out of his mind.
This is what I heard Larry King say to a guy once.
What?
The guy had lost his child.
Oh, no.
And Larry King goes, Paul Newman told me, you never get over it. It's like some unfeeling psychotic.
I don't regret doing it. But like now when that I'm watching it, I'm furious. And they don't seem to mind that I'm furious in like a funny way. Like, I'm still promoting the show by going and like slamming it and talking about how great I am and how much better I am than everybody else on the show. You know, they really don't care. Like, I don't know if you've seen my Twitter, but like I live tweet the show and they're borderline war crimes what I'm doing. Like,
I will now. Wednesday, 10 p.m. We're all going to be following Anthony Jeselnik on Twitter as he live tweets Last Comic Standing. And then, of course, Norm being at the end chair. That's just manna from heaven. Like, thank you, God.
Sure,
that
but
I get to watch Norm Macdonald.
that was like why I took the gig, was to work with Norm. I was like, oh, that's amazing. When am I going to chance like this again? Let me do this. And the way he was on in the taping is so much better than the way they edit that it kills me. Like,
why? Because I think he's really good on the show.
He's
really
good on the show.
And then it's about to go down. We're here to stay and run this town. Bring in the heat, bring in the energy. We're the queens of the festival, can't you see? We're the queens of the festival, here to rule the stage. Dropping beats and make your body engage. From sunrise to sunset, we're taking it all. We're the festival queens standing tall. Ooh, yeah, ooh. From dawn till dusk, we command the crowd's gaze. Every beat, every rhyme sets our souls ablaze. With swagger and style, we own this domain. In the realm of music, we reign supreme, no chain. Feel the rhythm pulsating through your veins. Our verses ignite fire, never wane. With each lyric we spit, each move we make, we carve our legacy, leaving jaws to quake. We're the queens of the festival, here to rule the stage. Dropping beats and make your body engage. From sunrise to sunset, we're taking it all. Festival queen standing tall. Ooh, I get it. Ooh. No crown needed, our all's the crown jewel in the kingdom of sound. We never play the fool with beats as our scepters and rhymes as our decree. We're the sovereigns of rhythm for all to see. So bow down to the queens as we own the night. In the kingdom of music, we're the guiding light. From the first note to the last, we'll always be the festival queens, forever wild and free.
Advice.
He's good, but it was fascinating to see him like unfiltered, especially when he's they took out all the bad comics. Some of the funniest stuff on that show is when a bad comic comes up and the judges trash them, I'm trashing them. Like, that was really fun, and that's all gone. They didn't want to embarrass anyone. So it's like the one reality show where they don't want the drama. And Norm was like borderline a monster to people. Like, he would say things that would kill me, that I would be like on the floor dying laughing. Like, I would have to take time. One of my favorites was he told this one girl. He said, he just like, and she did fine. Like, the other two judges really liked her. And this is what would happen, was like the other two judges would like the person, the crowd liked the person, and then Norm would just be like, I think you suck. And it would be like, everyone's like, I can't believe you're saying this, and I can't believe you're so against the other two judges. But so this girl, he says, she's done fine, the other judges like her. Norm says, I thought that was horrible. I think you're one of the worst people I've seen in this whole competition. And I'm like dying laughing. And then he goes, I think that you are incapable of writing a joke. And she goes, oh, well, I'll work on that. She's trying to be nice. She's like, okay, thank you. I'll work on that. And he goes, no, don't work on it. I said you are incapable. And that was the most like crushing thing he could have said to someone.